Well, thank you very much, friends, and it is great to be here in Oshawa once again. And, of course, it's always one of the first cities that I visit in an election, and we're back here many, many times in between, through good times and bad. Here at the GM truck plant, 1,000 jobs disappeared last January, and now another 1,000 are slated to go. We heard down the street, down the 401, that more jobs are going to be lost at Ford as well. Now, Mr. Harper and Mr. Flaherty say that this is just the workings of the market and that we shouldn't interfere. Is that what he calls standing up for you? I think I call it walking away from you and your family and leaving you to deal with the consequences. It just shows how deeply out of touch the Conservatives are with this industry. Because if you study how it works across North America, you understand that there has to be engagement. There has to be a strategy. Otherwise, you're going to continue to see these individual tragedies of people losing their jobs continuing. And more than that, that attitude is an insult to the women and men who work here, because you're amongst the most productive workers in the whole industry in North America. I think it's time for a Prime Minister who actually stands up for working families who are facing the threat of job loss and income loss every day. Not a Prime Minister who simply stands aside and washes his hands and watches as hundreds of thousands of workers and their families in the economic heartland of this country are thrown into the streets and left to their own devices. That's not what a government is for. It's wrong. You know it. I know it. Canadian working families know it. And that's why October 14th creates such a great opportunity for change. I think every day Canadians like you deserve a Prime Minister who actually puts you and your family first. I don't think it's too much to ask. In fact, I'm here to seek your support to be that Prime Minister in the House of Commons. Now, unlike Stephen Harper, I'll be a Prime Minister who will take tough action to stop the export of Canadian jobs overseas. We shouldn't be just sitting back and allowing it to happen. We need a Prime Minister who will stand and fight to create good-paying jobs. We need something proactive and positive, because low-wage service jobs are not going to be enough to pay the bills and put our kids through college. Our obligation to the future demands that we take action right now. Now, friends, we were all entertained last week by a brief, sudden change of the Harper heart, but nobody here is fooled by last-minute election checkbook announcements. Now, I've got to tell you, Mr. Harper's hands-off vision for the economy is not my vision. And I don't think it's the vision of the hard-working people of this community. So the election will be about choosing between those two visions. Unlike our Prime Minister, I'm not just simply going to stand idly by and watch a disaster train wreck unfold in the manufacturing sector. Unlike Mr. Harper, I believe that the auto industry still has a great future in Ontario, in Canada. I think of cities like Oshawa and Windsor, Oakville, Welland, London, all over southwestern Ontario. We've got a great future if we decide to grab a hold of it. Right now, 1 in 7 Canadians rely on the vehicle industry for their livelihood, directly or indirectly. That shows you how important it is. Whether it's workers in feeder plants or in the steel mills, running a shop in an auto town, all of these parts of the economy are connected. And I believe that a new generation of innovators and researchers and entrepreneurs working together with business, workers, and communities can come together to restore the health of our manufacturing sector. I don't believe it's a write-off like Mr. Flaherty and Mr. Harper seem to believe. And I'm prepared to lead that effort of pulling all of these parts and pieces together so that we can work together to rebuild manufacturing in this province. And so today, I'm announcing a prudent, step-by-step plan to protect and create jobs in Canada's manufacturing sector. and to train workers for the new emerging environmental and energy sectors. Let me summarize the key elements of our plan. We will commit an average of $2 billion a year over the course of 4 years with the aim of directly creating 40,000 new manufacturing jobs and protect many, many more. Now, this kind of job strategy will also lead to tens of thousands of related spin-off jobs as well. New Democrats will, first, stop the unproductive, untargeted, and fiscally irresponsible corporate across-the-board tax cuts that the Harper government and previous governments have implemented. Instead, we'll target the investments to stimulate innovation in the auto industry and throughout our industrial economy. We'll invest in low-emission vehicle production, ensuring that Canada's auto industry remains viable and profitable in Oshawa and elsewhere in Canada, too. We know we've got the workers to do the job. Now we just need a government to step up to the plate. We'll invest in training new and displaced workers in the skills that are required in the new economy through a green-collar jobs fund. We'll create a jobs commissioner with real powers to protect workers and investigate shutdowns when they're announced. We'll launch sector-based job creation strategies in all the key sectors that matter in the Canadian economy. And we're going to stop the export of jobs overseas through new manufacturing-friendly trade policies instead of what we've seen. And we'll start off with a federal government that puts Canadian procurement front and center in its procurement policy. Our plan offers hope. It's a way forward out of the despair that has been caused in so many families, in so many communities, by the manufacturing jobs crisis here in Canada. And our plan calls on the best efforts of Canadian businesses and workers and entrepreneurs to work together with government, with labor, with R&D specialists and everyday people to create well-paid, sustainable jobs in the emerging clean energy economy. We know we can do it. It's a question of political will and determination. And all it takes is a Prime Minister who puts the interest of you and your family first. And October the 14th gives us that opportunity to elect that Prime Minister and for me to be able to serve and to implement the program we've outlined today. And don't let anyone tell you, my friends, that it can't be done. Merci beaucoup.